This is good to be a good warm-up for your podcast with Mike Tyson.
Exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Plank Co podcast. I'm Max, and today in this beautiful setting, beautiful guest as well, I'm joined by professional athlete, boxer and lifestyle coach Seb Eubank, a.k.a. the Alkalion. I've always wanted to do that. I think I'd be a really good hype man, you know?
You would. You could do it.
How's it going, man? How have you been?
Yeah, it's going very well, thank you.
Cool.
Back in Dubai, I just got back from Sudan.
Yeah.
Back in this glorious surroundings here. And yeah, everything's very, very well, man. Thank
Amazing. First thing I got to ask you, having never thrown a punch in my life, what is it like to step into a boxing ring? Because you've done 2 professional fights now.
Yeah.
2-0.
2-0.
Congratulations.
Undefeated.
Can't want more than that, can you?
Exactly.
What's it like that first time when you step into a boxing ring?
I think if you haven't had a street fight before, it's going to be very different.
Yeah.
But I grew up, in pretty boisterous surroundings. So I'd already been used to fighting and being punched in the face and all of that kind of stuff. So for me, boxing and jumping in the ring, it's just it's almost like another day, It's
just another day to go and throw some punches.
Yeah, and there's no animosity in it. In the boxing, it's business.
It is a very business-minded sport. You do see that nowadays with the pay-per-view and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, you can't take anything too personally in boxing.
And it seems like there's a huge amount of respect in it as well.
There is.
Yeah.
Even the worst of enemies when it comes to boxing, at the end of the fight, you'll always see a newfound respect.
Yeah.
You have to. Once you fight a man, you realize that he's there, and he's not going anywhere. He earns your respect. And you have to shake his hand after the fight.
And so like you mentioned, you recently came back from Sudan.
Yeah.
What were you doing over there?
In Sudan, I'm working on a lot of things. But one of the main things is actually superfoods.
Okay.
There's a lot of superfoods growing in Sudan. And I'm just trying to get it out to the world. Because not a lot of people know about these foods that are growing that can help our health.
And there's a lot going on in Sudan at the moment. They had the revolution started last December, I believe. Yeah. And they recently overthrew the long-term 30-year president, was it?
Yes. Omar al-Bashir was in presidency for 30 years. He's now stepped down. And it seems that Sudan has almost started a trend. There's revolutions around the world now. Yeah.
Lebanon's crazy right now.
Yeah, Lebanon's going crazy. Hong Kong is just on a madness. Yeah. Shout out to the Hong Kong man because those guys are not backing down. And South America is some pretty big revolt. Yeah. Paris is still going.
Well, the French just love a good strike anyway. Any excuse to get a day off work.
So I'm very proud of the Sudanese. They've started off a global trend to resist corruption.
Good. We need that in today's world.
Yeah, we do. And
on the superfood note, you're big into that. I was watching one of your recent videos on Instagram. What is chaga?
Chaga.
Like, it seems like you talk about it a lot. You're very passionate about it. What is it?
Chaga is technically a mushroom.
Right.
And it grows in cold environments, mainly in the northern hemisphere. It's the immune system of a tree, of the birch tree. And they found out that when humans intake this, it's really, really good for us. The reason why I talk about it the most is because I'm really into prevention over cure. And this seems to be, from my experience, the best thing to just have as a very normal daily routine. Sip a cup of tea, some chaga tea, and that's prevention over cure.
Is it actually tea, or do you put it in your tea? Or you make the tea from the chaga?
Yeah. So you brew the chaga.
Okay.
It kind of looks like a rock. You brew the chaga and then you drink the tea, man. And if we incorporate this into our daily lifestyles, you're not going to get sick.
You're glowing. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but probably better on this one. But you are glowing. I wish I looked as healthy as you do.
Well, I've been in the Sudan sun.
Yeah,
but,
true.
I do get that compliment quite often. When I'm drinking the chaga, because I didn't actually take the chaga with me to Sudan. I actually ran out. I'm supposed to be getting some more now. But when I am drinking the chaga daily, I feel it I can see it in my skin. My skin is glowing, and even when I'm not in the sun.
Yeah.
and that's actually due to its high concentration of melanin.
Okay.
Which is why the tea goes so dark. When you brew it, if you leave the chaga in the pot for a couple of hours, couple of days, you'll see it goes like jet black. Goes really, really dark.
Can you still drink it then?
Yeah. That's the best time.
Really?
Yeah, you just need obviously less.
Yeah.
It's just like more concentrated.
Could you overdo it on chaga, do you think? Do you think you could OD on chaga?
I don't know if you could. They say that you can drink as much as you like. Okay. But they also say that too much of anything is bad for you.
Yeah, true. Everything in moderation.
Exactly. So
and you mentioned prevention over cure, which seems to be a foreign concept in our society, isn't it? Like,
strangely enough, yeah.
People, it's like I often use the metaphor like no one really cares about the guy who installs the fire alarm. But then the guy who comes to put out the fire, he's a hero. Mm-hmm. Well, there's no kind of result for when you kind of stop something from happening, and there's no money in that in our society, is there?
Exactly. Yeah, it's very backwards, to be honest. People want to wait until they've got cancer to do anything about it.
Yeah.
So back in the days, I know especially in China, they were the doctor would get paid as long as the whole family was healthy, and as soon as any member from the family stopped being healthy or got sick, then they would stop being paid until that family member was healthy again.
That's completely flipped from how we do it today, isn't it?
Exactly. It's completely backwards now. The doctors are only getting paid when you're sick, and no matter how pure the intentions are of that doctor, he's still got to survive. He's still got to make his money. He's got to make a living. Yeah. And his only incentive is if you get sick.
Yeah, it's a sad way to look at it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but it's the truth.
It's the same the way an undertaker only gets paid if you die, really.
Exactly. Yeah. So for me personally, I'm trying to flip it back to how it should be, and that's why I've taken on these superfoods and trying to teach people how to prevent themselves from getting sick. Yeah. And I make my living this way, but I feel a lot more comfortable knowing that I'm helping somebody stay healthy rather than helping somebody recover from sickness. I do have people come to me with a sickness and I can help them, but I prefer to say, listen, if you just take this in moderation every day, for example, like the chaga, just drink one cup of tea of chaga every day. Yeah. And you're not going to get sick.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what other superfoods are you recommending?
Chaga is number one for me, just because, again, I experiment with all the products that I use.
On yourself?
With all the superfoods, yeah. You have to.
Yeah.
You can't just read something on Google and then, start talking about it. So with the chaga, I tried it every day. And that's why I'd also say that I don't think you can overdose on it. At no point did I think I'm doing too much of this. But the chaga is the best for the immunity system. And any time you're sick, it means your immune system is compromised. So for me, the number one thing is the chaga to boost the immunity. It's got a very, very high antioxidant level. And then I also use a fruit that grows in Africa called the baobab.
Okay, yeah.
In Swahili.
We had a glass of that actually just before.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I'm already feeling pumped, feeling better already.
Yeah, man. It's very, very high in vitamin C. So again, this also really helps with the skin as well. And so it kind of cleans you from the inside out. When you take these products, you'll look clean because you're so healthy on the inside.
Yeah.
Again, this is something. So the baobab and the chaga are two things that I say are the best for prevention. If you're having this on a daily basis, you don't have to have too much of it, just a little bit every day.
And you think they can reverse as well?
I think so, yeah. Yeah. There's a few people who I've given the chaga to who have been told by doctors that they're just giving them loads and loads of drugs, loads of pharmaceuticals, which even if it may give them some type of comfort from their dis-ease, it's causing something else.
I mean, what we do in today's society is that you become sick, you have symptoms.
Exactly.
Such as, skins or bad skin, or could it be ulcers, cancer, whatever. But that's the result of the sickness. So we cure the consequences. We don't cure the causes.
Exactly.
So you just you always have that problem, don't you? That's just
Exactly.
going to keep on coming back, but you're just kind of cutting it out for a certain amount of time.
Exactly.
Whereas if we do, like, obviously you're trying to do, which is provide a preventive measure, it's going to go away for life.
Exactly.
Which is the beauty of it.
As long as you stay healthy.
Yeah.
As long as you're consistent with taking this preventative foods, you can call it medicine, but really it's just foods.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get sick. So, yeah, this is the way forward for humanity.
Well, it's almost a way backwards, isn't it? You think that's originally how we used to live.
Exactly.
There were no Xanax or whatever kind of medication we're taking
No.
before, and we were a lot healthier than we are today.
Yeah.
Cancer is a thing from our generation, pretty much, from 21st
Definitely.
century.
Definitely.
I think it's mainly food related.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah.
That's the biggest difference that we're seeing from over, let's say, 2 decades ago.
Yeah.
The food's completely different. It's all processed now, and cancer's going through the roof. All these illnesses are going through the roof. So there's got to be a link
Yeah.
from what we're eating, and the sicknesses that we're getting now.
And you're on a plant-based diet, yeah?
Yeah.
How long have you been on that for?
I've been on a plant-based diet for the last 5 years. But I don't anymore. I'm not an advocate of this veganism
Okay.
anymore, because there's these Beyond Burgers, Impossible Burgers,
Yeah.
this plant-based alternatives to meat, which are actually harming people more than the meat itself.
Yeah, it's very divisive even within the vegan movement, the vegan community. But people justify them because they're great replacements for meat eaters to move towards that whole food plant-based diet,
Yeah.
which is obviously the one that you recommend.
Yeah,
Have you tried those products?
I have tried them.
Yeah.
I tried the Beyond Burger. Tasted great. Gave me a good nostalgic moment of,
Yeah.
of what a burger tasted like. But then when you read the ingredients, having one every now and then, it's not gonna kill you. But I've seen people take this Beyond Burger and they're just having it every day now.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's not healthy either.
But then again, if you're going to have a burger, it's not to be healthy, is it? At the end of the day.
True.
So.
True. Yeah. So the veganism movement, it's a tricky one. You've gotta be careful.
Yeah.
For me, I call myself whole food. I'm a whole food eater.
Yeah.
It's about going back how we used to eat, and getting the whole foods, going direct to the farmer, getting your produce and cooking. But everything's processed and everything's ready made, and bang it in the microwave, and
Yeah, we've got that convenience of everything, haven't we, these days? No one wants to put in any effort for anything.
Exactly.
So do you associate to the word vegan, or do you really try and stay away from that word?
I stay away from it
Yeah.
now. Yeah. There's just too many.
There's a lot of cliches around
Yeah,
it, and a lot of
there's
stereotypes. And
and a lot of misconceptions now
yeah.
that I want to stay away from. And I've also found that when you talking about somebody's food and their habits, it's the fastest way for an argument. You can't tell somebody who's been eating meat their whole lives and obviously doesn't know that the harm that it's caused. You can't just tell them to stop eating meat.
Yeah.
You're just going to get into an argument. There's lots of different Netflix films now and documentaries that are showing more of the evidence that it's a harmful diet. So I let people watch the documentaries, and then I just lead by example.
Yeah.
I'm
It's the best way to go, isn't it? Just prove like what you can do.
Yeah, I'm not going around screaming out I'm a vegan, you shouldn't be eating meat, you need to help the planet, and all of this. It's just it just causes division in the end. So for me, I've just learned, let everybody do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Lead by example. The people who want to change, who want to evolve, they'll follow. And those are the people who I love to help, and I appreciate their support. I get a lot of people on my Instagram who message me saying, hey, because of you I stopped eating meat, I feel much better. And it's actually the things that you cut out that are really helping people the most, more so than the things you're adding. When people try the chaga and the baobab, they love it, but actually people feel the most when they say, I stopped doing this, I stopped eating this, I stopped drinking this, and I feel they feel brand new.
Yeah. Have you watched Game Changers?
I haven't seen it yet.
No?
Yeah,
No, it's on Netflix now, actually.
Yeah. I need to watch it.
Yeah, I watched it a couple of days ago, and it's so great to see that so many high-performing athletes now are turning towards a plant-based diet.
Yeah.
They don't really mention veganism because veganism is a whole concept
Yeah.
that goes way beyond food and high performance. But you see even Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's obviously he's a big guy, weightlifter. He's been the icon for masculinity in some parts of the world for a very long time.
Yeah.
Even he's saying that you don't need meat to build muscle.
Yeah. Well, Arnold was used for actually more than just the meat campaign. Arnold kind of paved the way for what we know as gyms today. Lifting iron, lifting weight. If Arnold wasn't this big superstar back then, I think you'd find a lot more places with pull-up bars and, you know, this kind of training equipment rather than bench presses. And all this
it's all about the weights, isn't it? You don't do anything standing up in a gym. Or with
you're sitting down, you're lifting.
You're isolating muscles as well.
So everyone thinks, like, I saw that part on the trailer of Arnold Schwarzenegger talking about the meat thing.
Yeah.
Which is, and I'm glad he's coming out now. It's for me, it's like it's way too late. It's like you're an old man, you kind of had your time now, and now you want to tell everybody actually this was all crap.
Yeah, the amount of meat, eggs, and dairy he must have consumed, his life must be insane.
Exactly. I would like him to actually start talking about, you know, actually, you guys, you don't need to lift weights either to be strong.
Yeah.
You know, you can. You see how bulky he is. And obviously back in the day, that was kind of like the look. But now if you look at the athletes, like the supreme elite athletes, no one's got this bulk on them. They're all the weight that they're supposed to be, super shredded, lean, you know. And this is actually something that I'm trying to address as well. It's actually how you train.
Yeah, working with your own body weight seems to be coming back again, like the whole like calisthenics, this kind of stuff. Yeah. I did an episode a couple of months back with a 63-year-old professional athlete. He's been vegan for his whole life. Nice. And he invented like super calisthenics. Like he's taken it to a whole Mary Poppins level. You know, it's
really?
like it's insane how fit he is for like a lifetime vegan. So just like proving everyone wrong that you can survive so well on a plant-based diet.
Of course.
But did you get much backlash in the boxing world for going plant-based?
I didn't get any backlash, to be honest. More and more people are messaging me every day saying, "Yo, I'm trying to go plant-based now. Like, what's your recommendations? I want to keep my weight, or, you know, all this kind of stuff." So, no backlash. But I did me and my cousin Harlem were, from what I know, we were like the first boxers to in our area to
because there's UFC fighter Nate Diaz.
Yes.
He's plant-based, and he had the fight with Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
And Conor McGregor was giving him like a hard time about it.
Yeah.
And he won the fight, which is the best way to prove wrong. But
exactly.
So it's interesting when you do see that still that stereotype is there, but you have to eat meat to be a man.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas it doesn't really, there's absolutely no link to it, is it? Today? Especially when you're just opening a packet, throwing it on a barbecue, frying it for a while, and then limiting your blood flow. So.
Yeah. And with the meat, you know, for me, I'm not going to say that humans have never eaten meat, or that we're not supposed to eat meat. You know, there's been lots of cultures who have had to live on meat.
And still do.
But
I mean, in Western culture, we're not in that situation at all, are we? A lot of people use those same arguments, which is fair enough. If you're in a country where you need to eat and you eat what you have and you whatever, I respect that. But when you look in Western society, and people use those same arguments to justify eating meat, and it's interesting how we've branded countries as well. Like they'll tell you, this steak came from New Zealand, or this cheese came from France. Like every country has become a brand.
Exactly.
Whereas if you said this is a steak from Sudan, no one's going to be willing to pay like $70 for it.
When actually it's much better meat. Much better meat.
Yeah, from a quality perspective, I suppose. Yeah. But I mean,
because also the cows, for example, in America and all these places that are doing the huge slaughterhouses, they've got to give them so much antibiotics to keep them from being sick. You know, so much, and the food that they're giving them is not the food that a cow should be eating. Yeah. It's not the food that a cow wants to eat, naturally wants to eat.
Even the mad cow disease, that came from them feeding cows back to cows in the early 2000s or late 90s, whenever that was. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So these industries have been cutting corners and figuring out the cheapest way of mass producing this meat. for so long now, you don't know what they're doing. You don't know what you're eating.
Yeah.
So for me, whenever I'm in Western society, meat's a no-go. When I go back to Africa, if I feel like I want some meat, I'll eat it. For me, I do have some sympathy for the animals, but at the same time, when I go to a place like Sudan, I realize actually these people, like, this is just the culture, you know, and the animals are integrated into the culture. They don't have the animals separate, like we don't see the animals, they end up on our plate.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we basically live with our animals, you know, we raise them. And, you know, it's not like overproduced, you know. If they are going to slaughter an animal, that animal is going to feed a lot of people, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my perception on veganism, eating meat and everything, it's all about sustainability. It's about the quality and how it's done.
Yeah.
And I don't want to eat an animal that I know has been sitting or standing in its own feces for weeks on end, and the emotion of that animal being in a slaughterhouse has been like, you know, if you know you're in a slaughterhouse, you know you're gonna die for however many weeks it's there. That's just bad energy, man.
Yeah. But do you believe that energy, like that suffering, that fear that the animal feels, do you believe that goes into the meat and that we consume it, and then it has that impact on us as well?
I believe so, in certain ways. So, you know, we know that energy never really dies. It's just transformed. And that negative energy that the animal is experiencing, it manifests into the physical, into cancer. You know how much cancer they're finding in these animals now? And they literally they find the cyst, they just cut it out, they cut out the cancer.
Yeah,
and
I've
then
seen footage of that, it's gross.
And then they still give it to you.
Yeah.
That cancer it will be caused by some of the physical aspects of the conditions, the food that it's eating, but a lot of that cancer is going to be formed from the emotional aspect as well.
Yeah.
That, you know, they've actually done this study where it's like people who will go to prison, and there's a certain percentage of people who come out, and there's a large percentage have got cancer. But then there's a percentage that doesn't get cancer, and they say that's all to do with the mind.
Yeah.
It's how that person coped with being in prison. If they really couldn't cope, they formed the cancer. If they kind of accepted it and they were mentally strong about it, they didn't get any sickness.
Yeah, the power of the mind is incredible. I mean, the mind over the body is so true. You look at ultra athletes, you look at what the human body can achieve with the right mindset. And it is something that we don't talk about in today's society is mental health.
Yeah.
It's all about getting shredded, getting abs, getting super fit, which obviously it just contributes to your mental well-being. But we never talk about being happy, thriving in your life, what do you want to do. We always trying to tell people what you should be and what you should do, but not what you want, what actually makes you tick, what actually makes you happy.
Exactly.
What makes you happy?
For me, I like making other people happy. I like, especially when it comes to healing, because I know that when you're living in pain and you don't know why, and you're seeking answers, I know people that are spending so much money on these doctors trying to look for these answers just to relieve them of this pain. And when they can't find that relief and I can give it to them, there's no better feeling for me. There's no better feeling. I had one guy who had a very bad stomach issue. The doctors could not help him. He was just on this very, very bad medication. And I gave him the chaga.
Chaga's back.
He was overnight. He was just like, man, I'm not in pain anymore.
That's crazy.
And this guy spent thousands and thousands on doctors telling him, take this, try this. Okay, go over there, fly over there. They'll be able to help you.
Do you think these industries are trying to hide it from us?
I don't think it can take this long with all the money that's going into it. Think about how much is going into cancer research. You still haven't found a cure.
Put a man on the moon, in theory.
Exactly.
Do you believe we did?
If you want to get into that, we're going to be here for a long time. Did we go to the moon? If we did, I'd like some better footage. That's all.
Yeah. Because there's so much about that. There's like the shadow.
Yeah.
There's so much that the more you look at it, the stranger it looks.
Exactly. The more you look at it, the stranger it looks. I don't know, man. I thought we had better technology to be able to prove this. Really, they should be able to shut this conversation up very easily.
But they don't do it. They just leave it hanging.
Exactly.
It's like they enjoy it. Maybe it's because they want us to be distracted from more serious things. And
maybe. But, regardless of whether we can get to the moon or not, man, we need to protect this planet right
Exactly,
here.
yeah. You think how much money we spend on space, how much money we spend on looking for life on Mars, whereas this planet is amazing.
Exactly.
And there's everything here to feed us, to
it's our home, man.
Us.
We don't need anything else. What are you talking about Mars for?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you talking about SpaceX for? What are you talking about even going to the moon? For what?
Because you can. That's it. That's just human nature.
How much money are you spending daily? And then you're telling us that, we're in debt here, and
they can't raise minimum wage, or you can't can't improve schools and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's crazy what's going on in the Western world. But another interesting thing, like you see the weather now is amazing in Dubai. And there's a lot of talk about this. It's cloud seeding. What do you think about cloud seeding?
I think as long as they give the people a heads up, and they're very transparent about it, okay.
Because we're even manipulating the weather.
Exactly.
It's crazy. There was like sandstorms in Ras Al Khaimah, I think it was like a week or two ago. Yeah. Got these torrential rains that just come out of nowhere.
Yeah. It's all over the world now. Yeah. And I can't fault the UAE because so far as I know, they're the only government that are telling the people that we are doing this.
Yeah.
Everywhere else is like, don't know what you're talking about. It's like, but I can see you. You're spraying all over every day. Yeah. So the cloud seeding is another thing which is hurting farmers. It's unpredictable. I have friends in Africa right now whose crops aren't growing because of unexpected floods. And then when you know that they're cloud seeding, it's like, well, is it fair that these farmers should have to suffer because you wanted to do some other stuff over here with the weather? It's taking God's role into the hands of man, and I think that's the reason why they haven't told people about it, that they can do it. A lot of people will completely disbelieve that man can control the weather, even though it's a pattern. And
they could make it nicer in the UK though instead. Improve the weather a little bit in the UK.
They could, man. I might go back if they do. But until they do, I'm not going back.
Yeah, I just can't do with the grey weather, man. Like it really affects my mood. Whenever it's winter, 100%. It's dark, the sun 100%. Sets at 3 p.m. Yeah. For me, that's like, I just don't want to do anything.
Yeah. And as you said, man, when it comes to the mental health, depression is through the roof. Suicide rates through the roof. Why is that? Because people aren't happy. People aren't finding or figuring out what makes them happy. They just were told that money will solve your problems, and even it goes back to the food. If you're eating junk every day, and you're not feeling good, you're not feeling good, looking good, it's not gonna help your mental health.
Yeah.
So, it's a very important thing. The weather, the food, our environment, our friends, our hobbies, our pastimes. It's all very important to our moods, to our mental health, which ultimately has a knock-on effect for everything else. They say if you want to change the world, you've got to change yourself first. So if you're not changing yourself, if you're kind of just staying in the same low vibration, you're not going to be able to help.
But how do you break through from that and then get that higher vibration?
I think really it goes back to education. I think we have to be taught better values, better principles from school, from kids. But we're just told to do good in school so you can get a good job, and that will make you happy.
Were you good at school?
No, man. It was terrible. I was smart, man, but...
Sadly, the two aren't related.
Yeah.
You can be really smart and fail miserably at school, and you can be literally stupid and thrive at school.
Exactly.
Because all you have to do is learn and spit it back out again.
Exactly.
And is that a proof of intelligence? No. And especially in today's society where you have technology and everything, you don't have to have a hard drive of 500 gigabytes of memory of things. You can find them in a second.
Exactly.
So I hope they do change the schooling system very soon.
I think with the schooling system as well, I think this is very, very crucial for our food. because we're taught all these bad habits from the school system. You know, I remember being at home and there was always home cooked food, whole foods. Then you go to school and you kind of like you have if you go on a school trip, you get a packed lunch. They give you white bread with cheese in it, grated cheese in it, a penguin and a soda. And
Here's your fast track to diabetes.
Exactly. And it's like, well, okay, maybe back when I was in school and I was a kid, maybe people weren't aware, but now they're very aware.
Yeah.
You've got to change the school, the lunchtime. You've got to change the food, man.
And especially in the UK, it's like half an hour for lunch, isn't it?
Yeah.
They don't value food. It's like you sit down, and you like eat what as
Exactly.
fast as you can, and then you're back to doing whatever you're doing.
Exactly. They need to take a serious look at what they're giving kids in school.
Yeah.
I give massive credit and respect to Jamie Oliver for what he done. He made a massive campaign, and I think he actually even sued McDonald's. So, you know, there's people out there that are bringing these issues up, but it doesn't seem like it's not sticking.
Yeah.
You know, I remember being in school and we used to make fun of the vegetarian kids, and we just didn't understand, because I remember trying the vegetarian food and it was so bad. I was just like,
Yeah.
what are you doing eating this? You know, it was like they've put no effort into it at all. Whereas obviously the meat, they put a little bit of effort in. So when you're as a kid, you're not told, you know. I remember eating bolognese. If I was told as a kid, by the way, Seb, this bolognese that's on your plate, this is a picture of the cow that it came from. And then this is the slaughterhouse, this is how we killed it, and this is how we grinded it up, and now it's on your plate. If they had told me that as a kid and showed me that,
Yeah.
I wouldn't eat it.
But what do you think about showing kids that kind of footage or that kind of?
They're eating it, aren't they?
Yeah.
You can let them eat it, but they can't watch it.
Because there was a very interesting thing, I think it was on Instagram recently, and it was a mum who took her son, and there was this VR of animal slaughterhouses. So she let her son, I think he was about 10 or 11 years old. To
VR?
Yeah, it was.
No way.
I've done VR for like video games, for like horror video games, and that scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine doing virtual reality in a slaughterhouse. So it was like the path of the animal going through the whole thing. And so she took her son and they did it together. So the kid, like, he broke down after completely, which is completely understandable. But she got a lot of backlash on social media because, like, why are you showing him this? He doesn't have to see this. But then, well, if he's consuming these products, it is important to know where it comes from.
I mean, that's extreme.
That is.
VR slaughterhouse, that's extreme, but I like it.
Yeah.
We need extreme methods now, because the kids really don't understand. They're so disconnected. I mean, we were disconnected, but the kids are even more so now, you know, and they have to know that this is how you're getting your meat. This is how you're getting your burger. This is how you're getting your chicken. And if you're okay with how you're getting it, then fine, you can carry on eating it. But I guarantee you, any kid that you're going to say at 4 or 5 years old, here's a burger, here's some chicken nuggets or whatever, if you showed them, maybe not the real gory stuff, but just actually showed them, like, this was an animal.
Yeah.
They never explained to me that the bolognese on your plate was an animal. It's actually a cow, you know, and then they call it beef. So as a kid, you're like,
Yeah, they rename everything, don't they?
exactly.
Yeah.
What's beef? I'll have some beef, sure.
Yeah, of course, yeah. If it's like
I'm
dead cow, maybe not. Yeah.
Exactly. Actually, this is a dead cow. I'm all right then, you know.
But there's a lot I find in the school system that we need to look at, because you kind of do what, I'd say 14, 15 years stuck in the system of going every day. But when you come out, like, what have you learned? I feel like the only thing I learned in school was how to read. And that was pretty much the only skill, and count maybe. That's the only skills I have today.
That's all it should be.
Yeah.
Teach me maths.
Yeah.
Teach me how to spell, read and write.
Yeah.
Okay, and then ask me what I want to do.
Exactly.
They didn't even teach me how to cultivate. You know, they didn't teach you how to plant a flower, plant a seed.
Yeah. Or even actual skills that you need in society. How to manage your money.
Yeah.
How to be happy. How to actually find a job, not just have a degree that's completely useless.
Exactly.
Like, all these kind of life skills that you don't learn. You're just thrown out there into the adult world.
Exactly.
It's like they're just making unhappy people.
Yeah.
It's like that's what they're aiming to do.
Yeah.
But there's different schools now anyway that are kind of coming into play, and there's alternatives to it.
Have you heard of the Steiner School?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, Rudolf Steiner. He has like a bunch of schools spread out now, and you know, they just focus on like real holistic stuff, man. Like they do meditations in the morning, and they take the kids out and do gardening and do cooking and home stuff.
Yeah.
You know, So if I was in a school like this as a kid, man, I would be twice the person I am right now.
But the thing is that when you're a teenager or a young kid, you see people like gardening or cooking or, I don't know, doing manual stuff. You're like, oh, that's lame. That's for losers. You know, there's that perception that it's not cool to do that stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas now I realise like that would have been amazing skills to have in today's society.
Exactly. And it's only uncool because that's what they've kind of given to us. Oh, we should be playing football outside and just kicking the football around, or, you know, whatever. We need to get back to real jobs. Real jobs, like farmers should be like superstars in our society, man. You know, we should see a farmer be like, yo, Farmer John, what's going on, bro?
Yeah, they feed the people, like literally.
They feed us.
Yeah.
You know, everyone should wanna grow something. Like even our gardens, especially in Europe, in England, it's like bare. Like I just came back from Sudan. At least so you go outside. We've got an aloe vera plant here. We've got some lemongrass here, and we go get our coriander from outside. But in England, it's like nothing.
Shrubs.
Yeah, nothing.
Useless plant. It's just useless waste of energy and water, really, everything they seem to do.
Yeah, and it's just not sustainable.
Yeah.
If every single person has to leave their house, most people are going to get in their car just to go to a Tesco's just to get some food. It's like, where
But it's getting worse now with delivery. Because now you can have anything delivered, from like a packet of cigarettes to your whole groceries.
Yeah.
Anything can be delivered, especially in the UAE.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous because there's no incentive to cook as well.
Exactly.
But then that impact on your health as well, because I mean, it's better to know what you're eating.
Yeah.
And second of all, there's the transport of that food. And then there's the single-use plastic also that goes into a lot of these stuff.
Man, that's the worst. That's number one for me.
Yeah.
If all these delivery companies, if you're lazy to go cook, you're too busy, I understand. But when you think about how much of these containers are being used every day for these deliveries, this plastic is gonna end up destroying the planet. Everyone's right about straws.
Yeah.
Straws are the least of our worries.
That's like 0.001% of the plastic in the ocean, really.
And that's how you see them kind of play on us, you know. It's like out of all the things you could have mentioned, like people are going to get, you know, hung up on straws.
I mean, the fishing industry is responsible for half the plastic in the oceans, but we don't talk about stop eating fish.
Yeah.
So I'll go have my sushi, but I won't have a straw with my drink. Doesn't really make any sense at all.
Doesn't make any sense. It's very, very backwards right now.
Yeah.
And we have to start addressing these things and just one by one resolving them.
Yeah.
It seems like these issues get brought up and then kind of put to the side, and we don't actually follow through and actually solve the issue.
It's like it's a trend, isn't it? It's cool. It's cool to say no to a straw for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
So actually, I haven't given you much shout out yet so far. So obviously, we can find you on Instagram at Seb Eubank.
Yeah.
And then we also have your YouTube channel, Alkalion.
Yes.
I watched quite a few of your videos actually. You've got quite an eclectic set going on there.
Yeah.
You've got your videos from Sudan.
Yeah.
You got that one where you're with the Marines as well.
Yeah, with the Marines.
Trying a few different gyms. And then there was the one of your fight at the O2. There was quite a big build up to that in the video.
Yeah.
I was like, there's going to be a fight. There's going to be a fight. There's going to be a fight.
No fight.
Spoiled that video for you. No fight. Still worth watching though.
Still worth watching.
7 hours in your gloves almost, you know.
Yeah.
Warm up, warm down.
That was a tough night.
Yeah.
But an experience and made me tougher. The YouTube account that I have, I only put up really professional content. But then I realized I'm spending a little bit too much time and money on this. Right now, let me just go back to the basics. And for me, that's just healing people. It's so easy. It really is. It's like there's certain foods, herbs on this planet that we've been using for centuries, for millennia, that is healing us. And just finding them and then offering them to the right people who need it. That's really what has been my main focus, and I'm so passionate about it. And it just makes me feel so good, and really it's easy.
Yeah.
It's really not hard.
It's interesting when you touch on putting out professional content and things like that. And I think that stops a lot of people from putting out content onto social media, onto YouTube. But at the same time, I feel like there's so much out there now. It's more about just getting it out there than like fine tuning it to the very millisecond.
Yeah.
Just trying to get that message out. And I feel like social media is great, depending on how you use it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I find it has a really negative impact on people. First of all, for time.
Yeah.
The amount of time we spend on our phones.
Exactly.
Just screen time, like scrolling.
Yeah.
And then that fear of judgment, that looking at other people, like, oh, look what he has, look what I don't have. Because you also talk a lot about procrastination. That's one of the key points of social media.
Yeah.
And then that negative mindset that it does give you.
Yeah. There's certain times where I almost feel like I'm like trapped on my phone. I'm like, why am I still on this? Put it down, Seb. Put the phone down. Until the point I'll just be like,
throw it.
Just throw it.
Then you put it down like, oh, maybe I missed something, and go straight back to it again.
It's dangerous. Yeah. I'm bad, and I know that I'm probably one of the best in our age group.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm. It's becoming an addiction.
What's your screen time? Do you know?
I'm an hour and a half on my average thing on Instagram.
Okay.
Daily, and I don't know if you can do. I don't know what my screen like actually on
the
my
total,
phone.
Yeah, you can see total screen time.
I don't even want to look, man.
I kind of try and justify it, like, well, some of the time I'm driving, so technically I'm using the GPS, so technically that doesn't count. Yeah. But it's ridiculous, man. Sometimes it's like 6-7 hours on a day. I'm like, what have I achieved in that time?
Yeah.
Usually not that much.
Well, for me, I justify it that I'm also making money from my Instagram. You know, it is my business. Right now, you know, creating the awareness of these preventative foods and herbs, it's necessary for me to kind of be on Instagram and, you know, getting that information out there. And then I haven't actually set up my website yet, so I've been taking all the orders through the DMs.
Okay.
But I wanted to do that specifically because I wanted to have like a real engagement with the people who were buying the stuff. I wanted to know what they felt, you know, so rather than just having a website, oh yeah, just go buy it, and then not hearing back from them.
Yeah.
Everybody who buys chaga from me or buys the baobab, they message me back, say, yo man, I've been taking it, it's really great, thank you, I'll be ordering more soon, you know.
I mean, like you mentioned, the engagement.
Yeah.
What you can have with Instagram, Facebook, especially Instagram now, that's the main platform. It is incredible, the outreach that you can have.
Exactly.
And how many people you can connect with and then share that message. I suppose it depends how you're using it, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, 100%. I'm using mine in a way where I feel like people come to me and they say, you know what, they watch my stories first. They've probably watched a few stories here and there, and then eventually I get to them and they message me and say, hey man, like, keep seeing this chaga, let me buy some. And I've got people from Australia, I've got people from America, Texas, LA. I've got people from Iceland, like random people. I'm thinking, how are you even following me?
Yeah.
So, and I've only got like 19,000 followers. So my mission really is to get into those high numbers of followers and then continue what I'm doing. Until I get to those high numbers, I'm probably just going to keep it very interactive, keep it in the DMs, and so I can talk to people and have more engagement.
You can still kind of connect with them and see what they're like, what's working for them. And that
exactly.
Kind of stuff.
Once you start getting above 100,000 followers, if they're real followers and not bots, then I don't know how realistic it is going to be able to.
You need like a full-time team on DMs, really.
Exactly. So I've got to work on that and figure out what's the best way. But as I said, man, for me, it makes me happy knowing that I've helped somebody and it is life-changing. If someone's got an illness, you're changing their life.
Yeah. I think the best thing you could do is start a podcast.
Yeah?
I think if you started a podcast, because clearly you can talk, you're very passionate about your subject, and you can share so much through audio format content, you can make video format content, and you can use it in such a way, and it gives you so much more of a connection with people as well, and so relatable.
Yeah.
I think that could work for you.
I mean, if I've got the
Chaga
time,
post, the Chaga cast,
the Chaga cast, we could do something like this. have a cup of chaga.
Exactly, yeah. So it's unlimited what you can do with social media nowadays.
Yeah. I definitely feel like I need to start talking more.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, my content's usually just written. I feel like if someone wants to screenshot it and then they've just got that information, you know. But a lot of people are saying you should talk more and you should start addressing these issues verbally. So maybe I'll take that on board and see what I can do. But
my dad always sends me articles from The Guardian, written articles, And the thing is, like, they're so long. First of all, the articles from the Guardian.
Yeah.
It's always about like veganism or like people hating vegans or whatever, something like that. But I don't have the time or the attention span to read them these days. Like, I feel like our generation is so formatted into audio and video content nowadays that reading, it just reminds me of school, first of all.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't register with me.
Yeah.
I used to read so much as a kid.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
I used to read books and books and books. And
what's the first adult book that you read that you can remember?
Adult book.
So that one that
Harry
like blew
Potter
your
doesn't
mind.
count.
It's kind of adult book, isn't it?
Harry Potter blew my mind, and then I ran out of the Harry Potter books, and I actually remember like going through probably my first bout of depression. I was literally like, what do I do now? Like,
whereas my life is over, Harry Potter's
I was just
gone.
thinking like, there's no more Harry Potter, what am I going to do? And then I found these books called Artemis Fowl.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait. They've got to make a movie of this at some point.
They did.
No way.
Oh, no, they didn't. No.
No.
I'm thinking of something else, yeah.
You're probably thinking of Lord of the Rings or something.
No. I was thinking of, what's it called? The thing with the time glass. Pullman. What's his name? Pullman. With the bear. It was like all...
Oh, yeah. The Compass.
Martin Pullman. Yeah, the Compass. Yeah, all that
Golden
stuff.
Compass, something like that.
Oh, I've read those books for sure.
I didn't actually read those, the Compass ones, but Artemis Fowl, that gave me some new life.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure that was the last, non-fiction books or fiction books that I read. And then everything else is just, now for me, it's, if it's not educational or informational, I don't really give it any time, which is sad a little bit, but I kind of feel like, I can't just be, because it's time consuming reading.
Yeah, it is.
And to read something that's just a story, just like, really, you got to just go onto Netflix and get a quick series out of the way.
What series are you watching at the moment?
I haven't watched any,
Good. I've watched 2 in 2019. That was my objective for 2019, stop watching series.
Really?
But then the last season of Money Heist came out and I felt like I had to watch it.
Okay. How was that?
That's good.
Yeah.
I like it. It's people robbing banks, everyone likes that. And it's in Spanish, so I feel like I'm learning something at the same time. Feels educational.
The only series that I ever watched was Narcos.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. And I just wanted to see what the hype was and see what the propaganda was. It's like, how are you going to have some crime lord like this and just give him his own TV show and kind of they put the show in a way that you side with the bad guy.
Definitely, yeah.
You feel for him,
It's kind of that Robin Hood kind of idea, isn't it, that they've put into it. But then they even did another one, and then they did one about El Chapo in Mexico as well.
Yeah.
There was a bit of a drug lord theme going on.
Yeah, it is. It's I think it's a bit dangerous because we start sympathizing with killers.
Yeah.
With people who, if you meet them in real life, you're not going to sympathize with this man. You're just going to pray that he don't kill you.
Yeah, and we romanticize it in such a way, and
exactly.
through cinema, we think, oh yeah, it's actually quite good. Maybe I'll become a drug lord. Which I'm sure the reality of that isn't quite as rosy.
Exactly. Yeah, the Netflix is something where, I remember everybody talking about this Game of Thrones for a little while, and I have to this day not watched one episode.
Yeah.
And obviously it was like series after series.
It was never ending. And then it came to the ending, and I just remember on Instagram the next day, everyone was like, biggest waste of time, like biggest anticlimax, can't believe how crap it was. I was just like, man, imagine if you've actually sat there and watched days worth of these series and then the ending's just crap. Yeah, I did that.
So what was it? What was the ending, man? Like,
I can't even remember. It was like there's this big war. I don't want to spoil it if no one's seen it, but if you're thinking about starting watching Game of Thrones, I'd say don't do it. Simply don't do it. You know, there's so much more you could be doing out there.
Exactly.
With the time that we have on this earth, why not use it? Because I feel like we consume so much content on a daily basis, especially now. Like everything in mini clips, everything like that. Your brain is going to literally fry up from that.
Yeah, I feel like this thing with the whole Game of Thrones. I don't believe that you can make such a genius, from what I heard, such a genius series, and then mess up the ending like that.
Because they changed so much throughout. That then the ending didn't really make much sense anymore. I don't know why they'd adapted so much of it, because I think it just couldn't be that long.
Yeah. I kind of feel like, they almost set people up for that kind of disappointment.
Yeah.
It's like, we're going to give you all this excitement, but we've got to start getting you ready for that disappointment at the end.
It's like life, though, isn't it?
Honestly, like I feel like there's something there where they're kind of getting people set up. Like, don't expect a happy ending at the end of this. Don't expect us to say, by the way, people, the planet's saved. You know, we've done it. I feel like they're getting people ready for that disappointment where it's like, we've about to self-destruct.
Yeah.
We're
all just about ready for Judgment Day. Yeah.
I feel like they're getting people ready for it, man.
Yeah.
And
because actually, the book that I read was The Hobbit when I was 7, and then there was The Lord of the Rings. And then recently someone was telling me about the whole link between that and the Antichrist. And I was like, there's so much interpretation in everything. Like, maybe we are just getting ready for the end of the world and we're just putting films out there to prepare us and entertain us for it.
I think Hollywood is onto something.
Yeah.
They're definitely putting in some things. I remember watching a film, it was a comedy. It's got Seth Rogen in, and they're all playing themselves. What was it called? I think it's like End of the World or something like that. I don't know. All these actors, Hollywood actors, are playing themselves. And then they go outside from this house party and the whole of California is on fire.
Ah, yeah. I'll have to put a link to that. I think I've seen it.
And then like a year later, I'm seeing this video on Instagram of somebody driving through LA and everything's on fire. And I'm like, this was in a Hollywood movie last year.
Yeah.
And now it's reality. Now these hills literally are looking like the end of the world. Like the whole of LA was on fire. And I'm like, or California. I'm like, man.
Well, I hope films like Sharknado don't come real. You know?
Sharknado?
Yeah.
Not heard of it.
It's tornadoes with sharks in them.
No way.
It's a thing.
Really?
It's a thing. There's Sharknado 2 as well.
Sharknado.
Not worthy of any time of day. Yeah.
Wow.
How real is Rocky compared to boxing?
Rocky.
Because that's the only like reference I have when it comes to boxing.
I've heard that the raw egg thing literally came from Rocky. Apparently there was no scientific study done on eating raw eggs.
Disgusting scene ever.
Yeah. So Rocky actually put it into people's heads that drinking raw eggs can give you this protein that you need or something like that. That's how I would sum up Rocky when it comes to boxing. It's fabricated.
It makes everyone want to be a boxer, doesn't it? You watch
running up some stairs and hitting a big slab of meat in the freezer.
It's kind of wrong.
Yeah.
Well, I saw you in your video. You were punching a wall. So.
Yeah, but I get all those techniques from the Shaolin monks. And the Shaolin are really one of the best example of what we're talking about, of how you don't need this meat to be strong. And I'm talking about super strength, super strong, and it is all in the mind. These guys aren't lifting weights. These guys aren't taking protein shakes and eating meat. They're on a plant-based diet. They're in meditation most of the day, and then their physical exercises are it's very short. Well, it's not short, but you know, if you see a kid doing a handstand and he's doing it on his fingers, and it's like, well, how do you get the strength to do that? How do you build the strength in your finger to be able to take all of your weight? You don't get that from sitting in the gym and.
Maybe I'm sure they've got mini weights for that now. You could probably buy them.
I bet you could.
Order them on eBay.
I bet you could.
Because like, there's got those hand things as well to muscle your fingers now.
Yeah. Actually, those are good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually had to use those because I fractured my hand in my last fight, and
wasn't from punching the wall.
Like no. This guy's head was harder than a wall. Some Lithuanian.
Yeah.
The bone structure that I'd never felt before. He literally just took.
And you're punching with gloves as well.
Yeah, I mean there was 10-ounce gloves, so it's not a lot, but yeah. So I did use that hand thing before. It was good.
When are you going to fight again?
Hopefully before the end of the year.
Okay.
I'm hoping December's an opportunity for me to get out. But to be honest, man, you know, my calling has slightly shifted.
Yeah.
It's always been actually this calling, but for the longest time I was ignoring it and kind of doing boxing full on and doing the healing business as like a little side hustle. And then only in really the last year, actually really since my hand injury, which was in March, I kind of flipped that. And boxing has been my side hustle, and healing has been my main focus. And I'm happier for it. I'm a lot more content. I think boxing is something that it's a very different vibration. It's a very different frequency to where I'm at right now in life. Back when I was younger and street fighting was cool, and having your reputation and being known as this hard guy was very important to a young-minded man. It's like that respect that you're longing for, this respect. And I didn't know how to get it other than being able to prove that nobody can mess with me when it comes to a physical confrontation. And as you get older and you mature and you realize, I don't care if this person knows that I can beat them up.
You got nothing to prove, haven't you?
I've got nothing to prove.
Yeah.
And after that switch in my mind happened, boxing really kind of became this alien thing to me, actually. But I was like, why am I... Like, there's only one reason why I'm doing it, and that's for money.
Yeah.
And then I realized, well, I can do other things for money, one. And two, money, don't care about money. You know, if I can't I'll use money to help people, but to just hoard it and just gather
show it off.
Yeah. You know, it all became very pointless to me. So boxing has become something that I will use as a platform to be able to further the healing business now.
And you were kind of born into it anyway, weren't you? I mean, your father was a boxer, your brother's a boxer, so you're from a boxing family. I mean,
all my uncles are boxers, my cousins.
Do you have like group fights anytime?
No, that would be
family dinner. Just move the table aside and go like Royal Rumble on everyone.
Oh man, that would be dangerous.
That would be very dangerous.
No
not a family you want to mess with, really, is it?
It's definitely not a family you want to mess with. Although, again, you know, we don't fight outside the gym. You know, we're not looking to prove ourselves to anybody. It's just the business, the boxing business. But for me, as I say, it's a low vibration that I'm not vibrating at anymore. You know, so when I do go back into the realm of boxing, it's almost like I've got to lower my frequency again to get back into this primal state of kill or be killed. And it's also it's stress. To get into that mind state of kill or be killed, you're putting yourself in survival mode, into a stress mode that I don't want to be in so much. I don't mind going back into it every now and then, but when you're, let's say, you're in camp and you're sparring 3-4 times a week, every time I walk into that gym and I'm nice and happy, I've had my chaga tea, and then I see the guy I'm supposed to spar, and then I've got to get into this dark mode again, like.
You've done all your meditation and you're all like almost on Shaolin monk mode. Yeah. But it's crazy how you're right. They've got everything figured out. I mean, it's pretty much what we're moving towards now, isn't it? I mean, they're just so ahead of us. We're moving away towards a more minimal society, to not showing off as much as the 90s or that kind of era when it was bling bling time. In fact, most people are moving towards more minimal lifestyle, plant-based lifestyle, meditation, something that I started recently where I thought I would never be able to do it. Do you meditate?
Yeah, not enough.
Yeah.
Not enough, and just due to too many distractions, and there's no excuses not to meditate, so I don't even want to bring any up. Yeah. But I know I need to do more.
I think it's amazing. I never thought I'd be able to, because I've always been kind of like a bit hyperactive and a bit all over the place. But ultimately, it's just breathing and taking a moment to realize where you are.
Exactly.
And where your body is and where your mind is. And it's not about controlling your mind, it's about appreciating it and just letting things go. Yeah. Which is something I'd never really been able to do. So I think I'd recommend to anyone to give it a try. And there are great apps for it now as well. Yeah. Like guided meditation.
I'm trying to stay away from the apps because I'm like, I know it can probably help me, but then how are we going to integrate technology into meditation now?
Well, we integrate technology into everything, don't we? We've integrated technology into flies to spy on people, and all this kind of thing. You can't get away from it.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm trying to find a way of integrating technology to help us with our health, because all these apps now where like you can kind of get something delivered,
Yeah.
On the go. We need to use this structure to be able to have access to preventative medicines or
You could do Uber
healthy
Chaga.
foods. Uber Chaga. There we go.
Just get guys riding around on motorcycles, get your chaga, boom.
Chucking chaga at
Yeah.
people.
Chaga and go.
Chaga and go. Chago.
So many brilliant ideas coming out of this,
It is, man.
Yeah.
I wanna do some type of delivery system for these superfoods. That's what I'm working on at the moment. But I don't want it to I want it to be informative as well. I want it to be an app or something where you can really learn for yourself about this, because I have to talk about chaga and these superfoods so much, which I don't mind doing, but at the same time I feel like people need to learn this for themselves. People need to actually have something that is teaching them what this is, how to take it, why you should be taking it, when to take it. And I do believe that this is where technology can be helpful and useful. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. They've done studies now where they're introducing meditation to kids in the classrooms, instead of like timeouts and naughty time, whatever. And they're seeing a massive.
I mean, imagine a generation of kids that's been brought up with mindfulness and meditation.
Exactly.
I think it'd be incredible.
Yeah, you're going to eradicate violence, man. It's
And a plant-based lifestyle, I think, as well.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, at the end of the day, the kids grow into adults. And adults are either, good, decent, functioning citizens of society, or they're criminals, and they're menaces to society.
Yeah.
So it's really just how that kid was treated, and how that kid was nurtured into the human being that they are now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing of our society, isn't it? It's nature over nurture, but it's all nurture. And then there's the perception of society that a society will have of that child.
Exactly.
I mean, I see it even of myself as like a white British guy in Dubai, left school at 18. I can find a decent job, ultimately based on the fact that I'm a white British male. If I was born in, I don't know, the third world country, like Bangladesh, hadn't been to university, just spoke English, I think I would not be at the same standing as being a white British male. It's so sad, but it's still so relevant in today's society.
Oh yeah, we can't really get away from that.
Yeah.
Due to colonialism, there's just unequal playing fields now. I just came back from Sudan, and man, I mean, they don't even have roads out there. The roads are they're not there. And you see kids, and in a heat that's kind of undescribable. You'll see them going through garbage in the middle of the day, picking out plastic bottles, putting it into their big sack. It looks like a Father Christmas sack, like it's massive. And for every kilo of plastic bottles that they return to this recycling company, they get 4 Sudanese pounds, which I don't even think can be like, I don't think it's like it's less than a penny.
No way.
Yeah, it's less than a penny, way less than a penny.
And you need a ton of plastic bottles to get a kilo.
Yeah, massive bags.
Yeah.
So, there's kids around the world who they haven't got the same opportunities that we do. And actually, when I go and speak to these kids, they're actually they're so adult. You literally talk to like a 6-year-old, 7-year-old. They're out on the streets by themselves. You don't see a big brother or a big sister or mum or dad. They're just by themselves, collecting these bottles or doing whatever they got to do to survive. And when you talk to them, they have a level of maturity that it's almost like you're talking to a grown man, or a grown person. And this is something that I really want to help. This is something that, even if it just comes down to nutrition and helping them with their health, I want to be able to guide these kids and nurture them so that no matter what they do, when they grow up, at least they've felt like they've had somebody there to help them or to love them, to nurture and care for them.
Yeah.
Obviously there's so many kids out there that are in a position that they haven't got any adults to care for them. So for me, even just helping out with the nutrition, being able to say to a kid, look, here's some chaga, taste that and see how you feel. Because a lot of kids out in Sudan especially, there's a lot of malnutrition. And they've actually got all the foods that they need to be healthy, but they just can't afford it.
I mean, that's so sad, isn't it? I mean,
They can't afford the food that I can buy for peanuts, and they can't afford it, and then they end up eating bread for days on end with no nutrients in it, and they become malnourished.
yeah, it's just filling the stomach, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy what you say about these kids, how mature they are and how they just like get on with it. Whereas we're here, especially in Western culture, complaining about our mindset, complaining about how unlucky, how unfair it is that, oh, I can't do this because I don't have the latest phone, or I don't have this or that. You know, we're so lucky and we're so blessed by everything, and we don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
And how can we change that mindset?
I think meditation is definitely one way, because we just have to be more present now. We're just not present anymore.
Yeah.
Our phones are taking us away from the present time. We're seeing something that's just happened over in a different country, you know, some popping event that just happened in LA, and I followed, you know, one of these celebrities, so now I'm just watching what happened yesterday in a place that's got nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
And we're not present anymore, and we're constantly seeing somebody else with something that we're thinking, oh, okay, I want to get that now. Or I just got the new phone, but now the new one came out, I want to get that one now. So it's a never-ending thing. We're not going to be able to just switch our ways, but I think becoming more present each and every day, we're going to be more appreciative of what we do have. And I think everyone should travel, man. I think people need to travel. I think it should become mandatory, especially for people in the Western world. You should have to go do some volunteering in one of these third world countries.
Yeah.
And just experience it, just to otherwise you're never going to actually know how blessed you are. You know, you just see what's on TV and it's like, oh, it's horrible over there. But
When I left high school, I went volunteering in Peru.
nice.
Like straight after, like I didn't want to go to university, hated school, and everyone saw that as such a bad thing for me to do that, to take that like year out, you know, or whatever. My parents, fortunately, like they encouraged me to do it. They knew I wanted to do it. They didn't want to go to university. So I was lucky with that. But teachers at school, they're like, "What are you doing? You're gonna mess up your future." You're blah, blah, blah. And honestly, that was like one of the best decisions I made for myself.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
I learned so much. Obviously, you know, you come from the Western society. You think, yeah, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna help these kids. You get there. I learned so much from those kids. I learned more from those kids than I could ever give back. And that was the most humbling experience for me.
Yeah.
And I think travel, it gives you that perspective. You see what's going on out there. You see how people are living, and you appreciate so much more what you do have.
Yeah. And then just going back to the food aspect of things, when you go to these places, you realize that they're all eating whole foods that are coming from their farms, it's all local. You know, and that's why there's not so much sickness, or this sickness that we're seeing in the Western world. You don't find that in these places, because they're eating what they're supposed to be eating, what they've always been eating, not all this processed crap. But yeah, the kids in Sudan have taught me a lot as well about myself, because you actually start realizing that actually I'm soft, man. I'm complaining about, oh, it's too hot, the AC's like, the electricity's gone off, I'm too hot, I can't sleep. Now I just, you just get on with it.
Yeah.
Before, when you first go to one of these places, like, you're kind of moaning, you're just so entitled and stuck up, and you're kind of just like, oh, what am I doing in this place? And until you learn when you learn how to deal with being in a hard environment, you just grow leaps and bounds. You know, you're just not the same human being anymore. And I feel like there's so many people in the Western world who just need this. They need it to it's like a slap.
Yeah.
You know, you just need to be slapped. Like, wake up. It's not all hunky-dory. Okay, you are literally part of like a very small percentage on the planet who are privileged enough to live like this.
Yeah. I mean, we always talk about that 1%, whereas ultimately most people in Western society are part of at least the 5% of the world. And that is incredible when you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the 0.001% that everyone wants to be a part of. But even you see these people, most of them are not happy. They're products of society.
Yeah.
And I was listening to another podcast recently, I can't remember which one it was. And it was so interesting what they say is like, when you become famous, and fame just means that you're making money for other people, and people are using you to make money from you. And it was such an interesting way to perceive that, especially, it really does become true.
Yeah.
For example, people want you on their TV shows, people want you on their ads, but they're just using you to make more money from you.
Exactly.
It's not about how important, how beautiful, how amazing you really are.
Yeah. Fame is one thing also, which I didn't mention before, which is why I haven't gone full into the boxing as well. I'm 28 right now, and I've always said that I want to make a lot of money. Not because I like money, because I know that I can make a lot of change with that money. But my biggest mission is to make that money without acquiring fame.
Okay.
Because I believe that fame is it's actually so unnatural to a human's life, that when you acquire that fame, and the way that the media will never allow that to kind of leave you. Well, sometimes they will, but for example, someone like Justin Bieber, he'll never have a normal life. And all that money that he's got, it will never make up for the things that he actually has to miss out on now. Just being a regular human being, going down to the store.
Yeah, go to the cinema.
Can't do it anymore. You know, so this whole fame thing it's really got a lot of the youth just...
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people would choose fame over money.
I think now they would, yeah. Because they think that the money comes with the fame. You know, they've got all these reality TV shows now, and like these contestant shows, and the winner of the show, or like the runners-up, they'll be famous for a couple of months, and they get paid to go to all these parties, and they're just getting paid to live it up. Like you said, they're getting paid to make other people more money. And then that fizzles out, and then they're kind of left there like thinking, oh, I'm not famous anymore. People aren't paying me to come to the club and show face anymore. I'm not getting adverts. I'm not getting, no one's approaching me anymore. And then they just sit there and they're all depressed and thinking, well, what am I going to do with my life now? And all these little kids are just looking at them like, oh man, I want to be on that show now.
Yeah.
I want to be on what's that new one called? X on the Beach or X?
There's Love Island.
Love Island,
that's one of them. And then there's the whole Big Brother concept.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the first, wasn't it? Big Brother was the start of that reality TV. And I've always found that so mind-boggling. First of all, why would you watch people in a house together?
Yeah.
Like, you can watch people in your own house. You know, you got your parents. You actually know them. You actually like them. You actually care about them.
Yeah.
Why not care about what they're thinking instead of caring about what some random stranger thinks? You know?
Exactly. Well, now they've got Gogglebox, man. They're watching. You can watch other people watching TV.
That's just...
It's ridiculous.
That's like Russian dolls, isn't it?
It's just nuts, man.
Yeah.
And there's kids who are really thinking like, I would just do anything to be on that show. I remember I used to be like that as a kid, but the game shows were different. I used to want to be on
Gladiators.
I wanted to be on Gladiators
with
so
Wolfman.
Badly. Wolfman. yeah. Wolfman was a beast. I wanted to be on Gladiators, and I wanted to be on Survivor.
Oh yeah.
Because I would like when
you
I
do
saw
well
that.
At that.
Yeah. I was always thinking as a kid, I was like, man, put me on an island. Man, I'll be running that island. The animals will be behind me, like walking with me, chilling. So now kids are thinking, I don't want to like Survivor. I don't want to be on Survivor or Gladiator or something physical. Like I want to be on a game show where they say, here, go on an island, bunch of girls, bunch of alcohol, and just go have some fun, and we're going to film you.
Yeah.
And then they become famous from that, and that's what they aspire to be. So the youth...
It's the quick game, isn't it?
Yeah. The younger generation of they're gonna have a very tough time adapting to the real world when they realize that out of the million people that auditioned for this TV program, only 10 are getting picked.
And it'd be great to see those 10 people in 10 years.
Exactly.
And see how happy and fulfilled they are with their lives. You know,
exactly.
It's a sad thing. I find the music industry's gone that way as well.
Yeah, big time.
And it's sad to see, you know, how you've got great artists out there, they sign up to these labels and then they're just getting pimped out by these labels and getting nothing from it, you know.
Yeah. The music industry is actually, I believe, a big culprit in why the children are so confused and lost now. Because there's nothing important about the lyrics. There's nothing creative about the music videos. There's nothing uplifting. There's nothing positive. It's just all trends and gimmicks.
It's all the templates, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. And it's like, I remember I was watching the other day, it came on the Michael Jackson Earth song. And I remember that was the first time I ever cried from like seeing something on the TV. Like actually the emotion of what I'm seeing on TV was instilled into me, and I cried. I remember exactly when it was as well. It was when the elephant was like on its side, and like the tusk, like, I don't know, the CGI on that film was like nothing I'd ever seen before. I think it was like made in the 90s, and the CGI that they used in that music video was just so incredible. And as a kid, I'd never seen anything like that. And then they were showing little cuts of stuff that's happening in the world, like the deforestation. There's one little bit in the movie where in the music video where there's like a kid, and he's just skin and bones. He's dead.
Yeah.
It almost looks like the baby's dead. And it was the first time I ever saw this, and I was like, I remember as a kid, I asked my mum, I was like, Mum, what is this? I didn't understand it. I didn't know that the world was in a state of emergency. And that's in the 1990s. If Michael Jackson's doing a song about Earth Song and trying to address how bad that the state of the planet is in, imagine what it's like now.
Exactly.
And you don't see any music about it. You don't see any.
No, it's all about Lamborghinis and bubble butts and all that kind of stuff, isn't it, really? I mean,
so there's no Michael Jacksons anymore. There's no Tupacs anymore. There's no Bob Marleys anymore. It's just, and what really upsets me about that is that the industry is controlled and owned by adults, and all they're doing is exploiting young people. Oh, you're 19, you can rap a little bit? Cool. We're going to give you some chains, going to give you some little advance, so you've got some cash in your pocket for now. You've got to pay it back to us, but, we'll make you're going to look rich to all your friends. And they just use them to just make the worst music, repetitive, no substance, no content, and it's just misleading.
What's your favourite song? What's your go-to song?
I couldn't even give you one, man.
Yeah.
My go-to artist or band is called Midnite.
Midnite, okay.
Yeah, they're a roots reggae band, and it's very, very spiritual music.
I'll have to check them out.
Yeah, I've literally deleted all the new age artists. I used to be really into Lil Wayne back when I was a kid, and probably like when I was from like 15, 16, really into Lil Wayne, all these guys, and you got the Rick Ross and all of that. And when I was about 21, when I was really kind of in my awakening phase, I was like, you know what, I'm deleting it all. And that was actually a really big step for me, because I was really into my music.
Yeah.
Like, I was the guy that everyone was like, Seb's got the new songs.
Yeah.
Like, let me come around and burn a CD from his laptop and all that.
You gotta make the playlist.
Yeah, I always used to make the playlists.
Yeah.
And I deleted all of it. Because I just realized, if there's music and these guys are saying the word nigger in every single sentence, then it's like, this is not good for my mind. This is food for my mind, and it's poison. So I deleted everything, and it took me a couple weeks to transition into that, but I stuck with it.
I do find it like weird how often that word is used.
Yeah, it's deliberate
in like black culture.
Yeah,
I mean, I cannot say it. I could never get away with saying it. I wouldn't want to say it.
Well, the thing is, you could now, because if you're singing along to a song. In America, it's actually normal now. Mexicans say it, white boys say it, everybody says it, because the music, which is so influential, hip-hop music, so influential, and they're using it so much that it's just kind of normal now. If you go to America, anybody's saying it.
Yeah.
And I don't even get offended. I'm just like, well, if you like the song, it's in the song, then I understand. Yeah,
I mean, there's a difference between like the lyrics, saying it from the lyrics of a song, than like openly, just blatantly, like just be saying it. I couldn't even say it. I physically could not say it to you. Yeah. I couldn't do it. It just, I don't know, it just seems such like a wrong word for me to say.
If we're going to get onto the subject of that, I don't get offended by the word, but I don't use the word myself. So when somebody else uses it, I say, hey, can you not say that? Because I don't even use it. Yeah. If I don't use it, then you don't use it. But it's not because I'm offended by it. It's a word. Yeah. But I just feel like it's a word that shouldn't be used as call me your brother, man.
Yeah, there are much nicer words to call someone. Yeah. Like, why go with that one?
Exactly. So this is where the music has taken us, and we have to be careful. Let's take this all the way back 360 back to the food. It's what we're consuming, it's what we're watching, it's what we're listening to. This is all playing a part on who we eventually be, who we grow up into. And if you're eating processed food, you're listening to this nonsense music, and you're watching, irresponsible, nonsensical content, you're going to be a lost individual. You're going to get to, whether it's 25, 30, 40, you're just going to be lost. You're going to have no direction. You're going to have no ambition. You're not going to find out or know what makes you happy, what gives you joy. You're just going to be, because you're just constantly taking in what you've been given, rather than fasting, sustaining, and just saying, no, I'm not going to take that in. I'm not going to take that in. What do I want? What makes me happy?
And so before I wrap this up, even though that was an amazing wrap up, what you just did, and people are starting to realize that. People want to be happy.
Yeah.
People want to kind of detox, cleanse.
Obviously,
they can get some chaga for a great detox, great empowering thing to consume. I think I'm going to have to order some chaga from you very soon.
Yeah, man.
What would you say to these people that are procrastinating, that have been listening to this podcast for 2 hours and thinking, you know what, this was good content. I want to make a change to my life. Where should they start?
I think it starts with you in your bedroom. For me, that's my solitude. Like when I'm in my bedroom, that's when I have my one-to-one talks.
I thought we were going to start talking about sex. We're getting into the whole sexual thing. Keep that for another episode.
Well, we can talk about that. Sexual retention. Actually, let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it.
Because pornography is single-handedly ruining the youth. Single-handedly.
Yeah, the expectations that we have from sex is incredible.
The expectations and the that dopamine hit that we can get so easily now. That's ruining the youth. And this is one thing that nobody talks about, but I would say probably over half the planet is addicted.
At least.
It's an addiction.
Yeah. And even the perception of women through it.
Exactly.
And even the racial side in pornography as well. There's so much discrimination in it. It's incredible.
It's all very messed up, man. Yeah. It's all very dark. And then when you kind of think about it, there's nothing in this world that is free apart from porn. It's like everything we've got to pay for. Everything we've got to buy, right? And then when I want to watch some porn, I can just go type in whatever I want, go watch it. Imagine if the porn industry said, look, we've got to make sure that you are 18 and above. And we also need to make some money, right? It's a business. So you have to be able to get porn, you've got to type in your card details. Let's call it $5 a month. Nothing. But you have to be over 18 years old. They don't do this. So, one, they're not regulating it. Literally a 10-year-old could go onto a porn site and find out whatever they want. And on top of that, it's free. Now, no kid who's just on his allowance is going to be able to pay for porn if
well, they might skip food.
they might start. Kids are not eating. They'd rather wank.
That wouldn't surprise me, to be honest.
But it just baffles me that everything in this world we have to pay for except porn. It's almost like they want us to watch porn. It's almost like they're saying, here, have this one for free. We could just charge you $5 a month. Imagine if everybody who watches porn has to just pay $5 a month.
Imagine what they could do with that money. The change they could bring to the world.
Yeah.
Porn could save the world.
Porn could save the world. Except they make it for free just to get you addicted.
Yeah.
And then once you're addicted, it's so hard to get off. I mean, I haven't watched porn for maybe 4 years now. And it really was tough.
Yeah, because our generation, I think we're the biggest victims of that. Because it came out with our generation.
Exactly.
I mean, coming out is literally the right choice of words for that. But because with the whole growth of the internet and stuff, that I remember, it was when we were teenagers, that's when porn became a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time, it was still, you go onto websites and 75 pop-ups would come in. You'd be trying to close them all quickly before some noise came out of them.
Yeah.
Freaking out in the office of your parents' house and that kind of stuff.
So there's a lot of things that we need to cut out of our lifestyles before we can actually really attain happiness. you could say, oh yeah, I'm happy, I'm happy, but you're wanking every day.
Yeah. But how different do you feel since you stopped watching porn?
I feel like, I remember for the first couple of months, it was playing on my mind a lot. It was like, you get into bed and you're like, oh man, like, just be so easy. It's on my phone now. I don't even need a laptop anymore. Like, it's just on my phone.
Yeah.
And then after about 3 months, that urge just leaves you completely.
It's like addiction, man.
No, 100% it's addiction. I've never actually felt addiction until I stopped watching porn. I didn't know I was addicted until it was actually like, I'm battling in my mind right now, not to just get my phone out. I'm battling myself. And we're not told about this because it's such a private issue.
Yeah.
It's like no one wants to speak about it. No adults are saying, listen, kids, like, you shouldn't be watching this. And a lot of adults don't want to say that because they don't want to feel like hypocrites, because how many adults are watching porn?
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know how we got onto porn actually.
I don't know.
But
great topic.
It's a very necessary topic,
Yeah.
so I'm glad we did speak about it. I want to tell everybody that porn is unnatural. It's becoming a very, very unhealthy addiction. We need to cut it out. Go back to I don't know what they used to do before, man.
Socks, wasn't it?
I think it was socks in a magazine. Don't even go back to the magazine. Just find yourself a nice partner.
Yeah.
And
bring back that human. It goes back to the human connection.
Exactly.
Because we've lost that human connection.
The human connection.
Be it talking, be it sex, be it like, I mean, we're just having a conversation, but there's so much more to it than just voices. You know, it's a human like bonding. You talk, you know, you're sharing something real.
Yeah.
And we don't do that today.
Yeah.
We don't share real things anymore.
No.
We'll just like send an email here or send an email there, WhatsApp, whatever.
Exactly.
But the actual human connection, we're losing it, and it's so sad.
Yeah. I don't know how we get that back, to be honest, because the phones is like it's like a wedge in between us.
Yeah.
Now, you know, and on one hand it brings us closer. Like I can talk to somebody that's however many miles away, and I can actually look at them. I can see them. I can see what they're doing. So it's bringing us closer on one way, and then on the other way it's like we're at the table. We're having dinner, which is supposed to be such a blessed moment. Like we're eating, like we're so fortunate to be able to have this food and have each other and eat together. And like everyone's got their phone on the table, and it's like some people will just be eating while they're on the phone, and it's like, man, there's no presence, there's no connection anymore.
I feel it brings you close to the people that are far, but it makes you far from the people that are close. It's great when the people on the other side of the world, but like once they're there, you don't even talk to each other. It's sad. Like
a really bad habit that I see a lot of people doing now is that they have started looking at eating as like almost like a waste of time. So it's like, let me get my Netflix in while I eat.
Yeah.
Or let me do my scrolling while I eat, rather than being present at the dinner table. And see, for me, like when it comes to eating, even like chewing and stuff, you've got to be present with that. A lot of people just wolfing food down now, just not even chewing it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people, they'd rather, if they could, they'd not eat just to save time or whatever.
Exactly.
Which is sad. Like food is so important.
Exactly.
You are what you eat, literally.
Yeah. So we've got to get back to presence, man. I think that's definitely the number one for happiness. That's how we got onto
happiness. Porn makes perfect sense. The link's there.
So being present and having that real deep internal dialogue with yourself, I think is important. I think it's kind of got passed off as like some type of craziness, like to talk to yourself. But I don't think people talk to themselves enough. I think everything is they're getting everything from the TV, or they're getting their opinions from something else, and no one's actually going inside and saying, how do I feel about this? Even when people get depressed, we'll just give you some counseling. That can help, but a good counselor will actually just be asking you the questions that you should be asking yourself. So happiness is really having that internal dialogue with yourself, being very honest with yourself. Does this make me happy?
I wish I'd had this conversation with you a few years ago, because ever since I was a teenager, I've always said, I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. And I went out traveling looking for happiness.
Yeah.
Like, I was always aiming to find happiness, and I always thought I found happiness in other people. of doing stuff for other people and that kind of thing. Until one day it hit me that happiness comes from within. You can't find it. You create it. It's there. You have to find it within yourself. And it's exactly what you're talking about. And I think a lot of people still haven't realized that today.
Yeah, definitely. It has to be coming from within. You know, no one can buy happiness. Yeah. So many people who we know. I mean, look at Robin Williams, who just killed himself. And
they always say that clowns are the saddest on the inside, or whatever, isn't it?
So you know, it's definitely got to come from the inside. How you go about finding it from within, I think, is obviously your own individual journey. My advice, or how I find it, is my alone time. I don't think a lot of people spend enough time in solitude. And if they are, it's like, well, it's because I'm playing my Xbox or something like that. But actually just being by yourself, being present and figuring out, when you are feeling happy, ask yourself, like, what's causing this happiness? Like, then you can find it again. But a lot of people, they don't actually internalize how they're feeling and why they're feeling it. So if you wake up and you're in a bad mood, people kind of just wait for it to pass. Well, I'm just in a bad mood. No, sit, stop, ask yourself, why are you in a bad mood? What has happened that has lowered your vibration? And then figure out how to raise it. They even say that you can actually smile in a mirror, and even if you're forcing the smile, like, just smile at yourself in the mirror for 1 minute, and it will raise your vibration. You'll just start becoming happy. You start forgetting about whatever was in your mind, causing worry or causing you to feel depressed, and you start becoming happy. So there's little hacks like this here and there, but you know, they say happiness is it's a continuous state of joy. To find that, you know, that's the $1 million question. Yeah. Are the Shaolin monks like eternally happy? Probably not. They're just humans like us. Yeah. But they've learned how to not be affected by anything external to them. Like, they don't have any possessions. So I can't be happy from this iPhone. I can't be happy from this new TV that I just got, my new games. They've got to find that happiness from inside with minimal possessions.
And one of my favorite quotes when it comes to that I relate to happiness is that it's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
Yes.
It's all about enjoying that journey.
Exactly.
And enjoying that process of everything.
And that's the presence.
And that's the presence.
Yeah.
I think a lot of what we've talked about is related back to that presence and meditation and being present in the moment and appreciating what we have right now.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah.
Like you said, man, it is about that journey. Yeah. That's where I'm at in my life right now, where, you know, I live in Dubai, which is great. You know, I made my move from England because of how the environment was making me feel, the weather, and it's a strange place, England. You know, I actually look at England now as if, like, you know, this is just, I was a slave back then. You know, I was just making money to survive. Yeah. You know, it wasn't really, it wasn't the life I was looking for, or it wasn't making me happy. So I decided to move. Now I'm in Dubai. People say, oh, you must be so happy you're in Dubai now. And Dubai is great, but not just sitting here and being like, oh, I've made it. Like,
I'm in Dubai.
No.
That's it.
It's the journey. Yeah. What are you doing now? And if you're not doing something that makes you happy, it's going to be very difficult, you know, to find that. You've got to be doing something that makes you happy. Don't worry about if it makes you money. Number one, let it make you happy first. You'll find a way to make money from it after that. But if you're doing something that you hate but it makes you money, well, guess what?
It's pointless.
You're going to be in a bad mood your whole life with a lot of money. Great.
Yeah, I mean, everyone goes to the grave with no money, don't they? I mean, you don't take that with you, so. Yeah. On those fine notes, Seb, honestly, thanks for talking to me. It was great to have you on the podcast. Inspiring episode. And don't forget to check him out on Instagram at Seb Eubank.
Yep.
Also, Seb Eubank. YouTube, Alkalion.
The Alkalion.
I hope to see some more videos, because your last one was a few months ago now.
I know.
It's about time.
I'm going to get back on it.
It's about time you pop out some content.
Yeah, man.
And obviously, Chaga. I'm so excited about this Chaga stuff now. I feel like I'm going to have to order some. So, yeah. Have a great evening, guys. Well, actually, evening here, but it might not be wherever you are. And tune in next week for another episode of the Plant Code Podcast. Seb, have a great evening.
Thanks, man.
That's the year that they're saying's our last, unless we make a change now, and we gotta be fast. But first we gotta make a shift in what we put in our mouths. See, silly Billy's thinking vegans eating grass on the ground. We talking fast food, yo, it's burgers and fries, and it used to hurt the earth and the birds in the sky. But now they making it with plants, and it's so much better, cause the animals are safe, no more changes in the weather. We better act fast, cause the ice barely freezing. The world's changing quick, so welcome to Planet Vegan. Woo! Damn, man, can you feel that? This place is getting hot. If we want to save the world, it'll take some work. If you want to make it better, then take off your shirt, wave it round your head, and jump into the streets. The revolution starts now. Can you feel its heartbeat? If we want to save the world, man, we better be quick, cause we're killing all the piggies and the cows and the chicks. And I gotta be honest, I ain't a fan of our fate, but we can make a change now, and it starts on our plates. All around the world, it's a brand new dance. What you're making out of bodies, yeah, we're making out of plants. We gotta save the pigs and the fishes in the sea, so hold on to your pants, Planet Vegan soon to be. There's a change up in the system, I can feel it in the air, but it benefits us all, there's no need to be scared. We're gonna change the world and we'll do it in a day, so don't fight the future, Planet Vegan's here to stay. If we wanna save the world, it'll take some work. If you wanna make it better, then take off your shirt, wave it round your head, and jump into the streets. The revolution starts now. Can you feel its heartbeat? If we wanna save the world, man, we better be quick, cause we're killing all the piggies and the cows and the chicks. And I gotta be honest, I ain't a fan of our fate, but we can make a change now, and it starts on our plates.
Massive forest fires have once again decimated the Californian coastline.
Iceland just held a funeral for the first glacier ever lost in the country's history due to warming weather patterns.
Europe was just hit with the hottest temperatures in recorded history.
Thousands of people are already dying every year from climate change-related issues, and this number is expected to rise exponentially over the coming decade.
Okay, this apocalyptic nightmare's about to be real. Forest fires, oceans flooding, let it fill you with fear. A billion refugees running across the borders in pain, and they're drowning while you're saying you're refusing to change. Slaughterhouses filled with bodies and they're letting out screams, but you're saying it's a lie, that it's only a dream. Let me tell you something, man, the nightmare is real, and you're paying for it daily with your supersized meal.